Thank you. Julie, will you please call the roll?
Councilman Jeff Capel,
Here.
Councilwoman Jill Cole. Here. Councilman Lee Zerwanka.
Here.
Councilman Brian Gath,
Here.
Vice Mayor Pramod Javeri,
Here.
Councilwoman Katie Schneider. Here. Mayor Mark Cirkin.
Here.
7 present.
Do I have a motion to accept tonight's agenda?
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm a no.
Like to have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of January 12th, 2023.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
No.
Do we have any communications to council?
There are none tonight, Mayor.
Any reports from outside agencies? None. We're going to move to hearings for citizens. I have a few things to say before we get to that. I imagine some of you are here tonight based on an article that was published this morning on Cincinnati.com with a byline as an opinion piece. So I want to clear up some confusion because it can be confusing. Blue Ash Airport was 230 acres. The city of Blue Ash bought 130 acres, and that is what is Summit Park. It's the restaurants, Senate, Tahona's, Brown Dog, Nanny Bells. It's also the glass canopy, the playgrounds, the Great Lawn, the tower, the pond, all the walking trails, the dog park, and a lot of parking lot areas. To the south and the east, across the street, there's another 100 acres. That property was bought by Nair from the city of Cincinnati. There you'll find the Approach, which is the apartments. You'll find Anthology, which is senior living. Arabella, which is not started in earnest yet, but that's going to be condominiums. Daventry is a single family homes. There is also a rehab hospital being constructed. And it's also part of a land that's in question that was brought up in this article tonight that we will probably see a presentation on later in the meeting. So we requested the developer, which we do periodically, to come to a council meeting and give us an update on how things are going on the 100 acres that is not the city of Blue Ash property. Okay. Tonight, we're going to apparently see that concept or a concept for the first time along with you. We hope to have updates on all the properties on the 100 acres, but what the article talked about was a stadium, as you may know, and we're going to probably see that presented to us tonight for the very first time. We have not been working with the developer for months, with MSA, with Nair, with Vandekar. We're going to see it with you tonight for the first time. There's no vote on this. This has to go through a process of going through public, the Planning Commission before it would come to us. It's way down the road. We like to kind of get an idea ahead of time of if there's anything new and different on the horizon, what the financial situation in the state and the city and the area is, what's selling, what's not selling. And remember, any property owner has every right by the First Amendment to propose any development they so choose. And it's our job as council and city administration to see if that concept is in the best interest of the city of Blue Ash. So now we're going to move on to hearings for citizens. If you wish to speak, please approach the microphone and state your name and address. If you have any materials to pass out, please give them directly to the clerk of council, which is Julie Kipper tonight. Please keep your comments as brief as possible to allow others a chance to be heard. Hearings from citizens is for us to listen to you and your neighbors. We need to have a chance to reflect on your comments, oftentimes research the subject. Sometimes during miscellaneous business later in the meeting, we will revisit an issue brought forward. The clerk of council will let you know when 3 minutes have passed, and at that point, please wrap up your presentation. Most importantly, let's all treat each other calmly and with respect. So with that, I will entertain anybody to come up to the microphone and give us your name and address.
Hi, my name is April Koenig, and I'm a resident here of Blue Ash. I also am a business owner of Creatives on Call that has been here in Blue Ash for 22 years. And I am now the owner of a more recent business called the Park Pour, which is in the downtown area off of Cooper and Kenwood. And Before I go much further, I do want to say I'm incredibly happy with the Blue Ash City. We're very pleased in all aspects of our lives and a big supporter of the revitalization work that you all are doing for the downtown area. And the park. So the park is coming up. I know you're still looking on getting it being actually bid and all of that. One of the things I wanted to put in front of you before you go deep into that is the consideration of the parking. And I know we've had the courtesy of being told how that's going to work. It's becoming more and more of a problem recently. And so I thought I'd bring it to your attention. My building that I'm in, 4815, which is adjacent or directly parallel with that parking that's going to disappear with the development of the park, will go away. And there will be more parking further back kind of behind that, which is going to be fabulous. It's going to increase it. But from what I understand, during the period of the development, there will be no temporary parking, and that's going to be a big, big problem. And at first I thought it wasn't going to be a problem, but it's becoming a problem. And so I wanted to bring it to your attention just in general. There are many businesses that this is going to affect. There's 5 in the building that I'm currently in. Our employees and the business itself, the customers and the patrons are using about a third of what is being used by our, I guess I'm not explaining it right, but the people are using about a third of that public space. And when that leaves, Slats and all of their patrons will start to spill into other people like the Walgreens parking lot and just cascade into being, kind of a parking warfare situation. So I just wanted to bring it in front of you. It will cause a lot of detriment. I've had a couple of people very concerned that they'll lose customers. If I were to lose a third just because they don't want to walk or hoof from the Cancer Support Center or down by the Civic Center, it could be close to $400,000 a year. So it kind of strikes me pretty hard because we're a small and new establishment. Restaurants in particular have a hard time keeping the habit of people coming and staying with it. And once they stop that habit, you kind of lose them. So I'm bringing that forth. I know also Ryan, who has the Blue Ash Dental, also has some opinions as well. As I don't know if you need more than that. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. The only thing that I would maybe ask, and I don't know if this is feasible, is I know that we've got the space across the street where Circle Development and Blue Ash are working in conjunction to develop that. Could that potentially be a temporary parking space for, this period of time, not a permanent, or if you want to consider permanent parking, I won't complain, but I'm just kind of thinking out, how could this happen? How could we work together on it? And I would be more than happy to be part of a task force or whatever you need to kind of get that done, but not coming in to complain, just wanting to really kind of bring it a little bit further up because it is becoming a problem for us. Like just in general, we're running out of parking. So I think that's about it. Do you have anything else or questions? It's kind of self-explanatory. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Jim Sayuda, 5761 Donjoy Drive, Blue Ash. Been a long time resident. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for clearing up the article this morning. I certainly would see it come to fruition. I would like that. But in addition to that article, there was another article in regard to Hamilton County wanting more of the youth play fields in the area of all kinds, similar, I wouldn't say similar, but along the lines of the Spooky Nook in Hamilton. And they're doing a $200,000, I guess it's an economic study to see if that can be done inside of Hamilton County. And so my opinion would be that should we consider this, that either the Blue Ash or the developers could work with Hamilton County to see if we could get that located in Blue Ash. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kathy McClure and I live at
You speak at the
68.
microphone.
Speak real good.
Hello?
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Thank you. My name is Kathy McClure and I live at 6082 Brasher. And I am very concerned about the overdevelopment that we have in Blue Ash. I can remember years and years ago when Blue Ash was in the bidding for the Cincinnati Regional Airport. And we lost that bid. And we're much better for it. We've had time to develop our city according to the needs of our current residents and carefully planning for the increase of both our businesses and our planned residential areas. There are many concerns that I have, and I've been remiss as a citizen and not coming to many of the council meetings and expressing concerns that I have and have talked over with my fellow neighbors. This city is starting to get overdeveloped. We do not have any designated green spaces, although we do have a few parks. We also have townhouses that are coming in, and townhouses tend to be in the 600,000 price range, which is not a problem. But those are transient units. When you look around in the city of Cincinnati, what you could get for $600,000, you're not going to stay in a townhouse to raise a family. In addition, many of the developments will impede our current infrastructure for our parking, as been brought up. Also, think about the traffic levels. I'm sorry, it is very difficult to get around Blue Ash between the hours of 4:30 and 6. It's only going to get worse. I just want to know, as council members, have we focused on filling the office space on Reed-Hartman Highway? As I drive up Reed-Hartman Highway, I see sign after sign after sign for empty office space. That is a tax revenue base that is currently untapped. But yet we are developing every piece of land that we have. And we're not looking at the total future picture. Kenwood Road is going to have
3
to be.
minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Franny Croner. I'm not a Blue Ash resident and I feel like I am out of place, but I'm here to represent 9514 Kenwood Road, which is Sleepy Bee. And I am right on your same board here, neighbor high. We are also really nervous about the impact of the new park and excited about it. It looks beautiful. The drawings look great. And we're so, thrilled to be a part of that kind of new life. However, we have also seen a massive pinch in parking with the new businesses opening up around us. And I think that the potential restructure of not having parking for a while and then potentially less spots in the future could be a serious hindrance to our future success and the success of other businesses and could really hinder other new businesses opening up. So I just wanted to say that I was also really concerned about that. And I would second a task force if I could be of any service to help figure out a solution for that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Got that?
I got that.
Good. It's harder for you to call people.
Rick Tremblay, I live at 5750 Sandstone Court. Just two quick items. One you already brought up was about the Moeller football field thing that was published this morning. So I'm glad to understand more about that later on in the meeting. And then the other one, I did want to understand a little bit more about what was going on with the potential development on Kenwood Road on the property that's north of the Miller Shell land it's like a triangle along the railroad. So
Simply the developer withdrew the proposal. It's
totally
off the
withdrawing.
table.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
My name is Peter Nord and I live on Kenridge Lake and I'm almost 84. And I'm married to a little old lady who's a little older than I am. And the other day, we had to take her to the hospital for planned surgery. But when we woke up in the morning, I measured 5 inches of snow in my backyard. And I want to congratulate the people of Blue Ash who are out at the crack of dawn. And they know who they are. They did a terrific job in cleaning the streets. I told her surgeon that we wouldn't have any trouble getting there because snow is not permitted on the streets of Blue Ash.
Not on Gordon's watch.
So thank you very much.
My name's Gary Bates. I've been a resident here about 50 years. I live about 3 doors down from Stephanie Stoller. You probably know her. I don't know if any of you ever heard of Malsbury Park. I'm here to live long enough to hear that. Know what that was? Malsbury Park. Malsbury Park was dedicated, given to Blue Ash by Mr. Malsbury. That piece of property is where Thriftway and Thriftway's offices, it's townhouses now, and part of our theater in the summer. Mr. Malsbury had turned over in his grave if he knew what you, Blue Ash, did. You took his park, downtown Blue Ash, beautiful piece of property, and says, we're going to swap it and put it out there where Crosby Fields Park is. That was a disaster. We need more park, like this lady said. We need more open space. We're overdeveloped with condominiums. I think Summit Park's a mess. You got a small park of 100 acres, and you're surrounded by multi-high density. And that's what you're looking at doing again. Totally oppose it. I think we could do better.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nobody. I'll close hearings for citizens and we'll move on to committee reports. Finance and Administration, Councilman Lee Zerwanka.
Thank you, Mayor. Julie, please read resolution number 2023-06 by title only.
Providing for amendments within the 2023 Annual Appropriation Resolution number 2022-64.
Move to adopt resolution number 2023-06.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none. Julie, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Javari,
Yes.
Councilman Capell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cole,
Yes.
Councilman Zerwanka,
Yes.
Councilman Gath,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Mayor Serkin,
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. Julie, please read resolution number 2023-07 by title only.
Providing for the appointment of Edwin Lueza to the Charter Revision Committee of the City of Blue Ash.
Move to adopt resolution number 2023-07.
Second.
Any discussion? None. Please call the roll.
Councilman Capell,
Yes.
Councilman Zerwanka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cole,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilman Gath,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Javari,
Yes.
Mayor Serkin.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All I have, Mayor, if you, I
Ed here?
don't
Ed Lueza here?
hear.
Okay. And we'll move on. We'll swear him in at his first meeting or at a subsequent meeting here if he chooses to. Let's move to Planning and Zoning Committee, Vice Mayor Javari.
Thank you, Mayor. Judy, can you read resolution number 2023-08 by title only?
Providing for the appointments of Andrew Whitkugel as a member and Carlton Brown as an alternate member to the Board of Site Arrangement and Board of Zoning Appeals for the City of Blue Ash.
Move to adopt the resolution number 2023-08.
Second.
This is the person, Jeff Euchre. We replacing him for the position of and Andrew Whittegall and Carlton Brown. They're taking the space of Jeff Euchre. Anybody has any question?
I'd just like to take an opportunity to say how grateful I am, and I know the council is, for the volunteers that fill the positions on these boards and commissions. They do a lot of work, and they take their job very seriously, and we're lucky to have quality folks like this offering their time.
Can you read the?
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilman Capell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cole,
Yes.
Councilman Zerwanka,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Javari,
Yes.
Councilman Gath,
Yes.
Mayor Cirkin.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Mr. Brown, will you come up and let's get you sworn in right here?
The handheld microphone, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, because. Oh, there we go. Mr. Brown, you want to come up here? We look better on TV if you come up here. And like Councilman Gath said, we so appreciate everybody on all of our boards. They make our life easy. They give us another viewpoint and something fresh, and you're gonna enjoy BZA, BSA. It's a fun and very interesting board to be on. So thank you again. Will you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I solemnly affirm that I will support the constitutions of the United States and the state of Ohio and the charter and ordinances of the city of Blue Ash, and will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties Board of Site Arrangement Appeal member upon which I am about to enter. Thank you. Congratulations.
May that be the hardest thing they have to do.
Yeah, right. He doesn't know what he's gotten himself into. We have about 6 citizens boards, and if I had to guess, 25 people maybe that are serve on them, and they are wonderful. I think they all enjoy it. We don't tend to have a lot of people leave unless they don't have a choice. So they must be enjoying their service, and we thank them again. Let's move on. Public Safety Committee, Councilperson Jeff Capell.
Please read resolution number 2023-09 by title only.
Authorizing the purchase of 3 replacement police cruisers for the police department utilizing the state of Ohio's cooperative purchasing program and the disposal of 3 surplus vehicles.
Move that we adopt resolution number 2023-09.
Second.
There, any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Cole,
Yes.
Councilman Zerwanka,
Yes.
Councilman Gath,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Javari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilman Capell,
Yes.
Mayor Cirkin,
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, we're gonna move to miscellaneous business. I think David's gonna give us a little intro before we have a presentation.
Yeah, so just to reset the stage, the mayor certainly mentioned much of this. Reiterate, what they're about to give an update is not a part of Summit Park. It is called the neighborhood of Summit Park and is near Summit Park, but I know that unfortunate article that came out today wouldn't have been
how I would have gone about doing this, but it said it was on Summit Park and on our property or whatever. So that's not the case at all. Number two, this is not a city project. I know council knows that, but this is a private development by private developer. Number three, this project, when I say this project, the neighborhoods of Summit Park's probably been going on for 6 or 7 years. And from time to time, they come and provide updates, and time to time they tease what they may be thinking about doing. And then ultimately you have to decide, as the mayor indicated, it has to go through a formal PUD process that requires going in front of planning commission, then a public hearing, and then a council deliberation on that. If this were to even go forward, there would be months of deliberation. So, anyone that doesn't like the project, whatever, please understand it's not on council, it's not on the city, we're not proposing it or anything like that. We simply take these applications all the time from the community. Next month, you're going to take a proposal on gas stations from Kroger, for instance. Much less mundane, probably not going to get as much coverage as this. So with that being said, we do have the development team here to provide an update and I guess share some new thoughts that they have.
Thank you. My name is Steve Dragon. I'm with Vanderkar. And first, let me apologize for the cough drops. Got a tickle that will not go away. So I'm sorry to have my mouth half full here during this, but better than coughing all over the microphone. As you recall, Vanderkar is one of the two master developers of the neighborhoods at Summit Park, along with Al Nyer. Tonight, wanted to give you an update on the various components that are currently underway on the neighborhoods of Summit Park. Never fails.
Hey,
Yes.
Mr. Dragon, would you like to use this? It really makes your life easier and you don't have to talk up as much. I mean, I'm loud as can be, but you're not. All right. Hear you.
Thank you.
Thanks for pointing that out, by the way.
So again, just wanted to give an update on the various things we got underway at the neighborhoods of Summit Park. And then when I'm finished with that, we'll turn it over to another guest of ours to discuss a vision we've been working on developing for a potential future component to add to the park. To start with, Daventry at Summit Park, which is the single family neighborhood on the west side of the project, is fully constructed and fully sold out. There are 106 new homes fully occupied, ranging in values from $600,000 to well over $1 million. It's been a very successful project for the developer, MI Homes, and we think it's going to be a terrific piece of the development and in addition to the Summit Park District generally. The approach was completed, construction was completed in 2021. The apartments currently are about 90% leased. So again, very successful lease up. The street level retail has taken somewhat longer than we would have hoped, primarily or largely as a result of the COVID pandemic hitting at just the wrong time. But the leasing team has reached over 60% leased at this point, and includes tenants like Higher Gravity, Gold Spoon Creamery, and Sugar and Spice Diner. And Kathleen Norris with their team at Urban Fast Forward continues to be optimistic about getting it the remainder leased up through this summer. And they're currently in active negotiations on another 30% of the lease space right now. So it's coming along nicely, and their team continues to do a great job. Anthology of Blue Ash, just to the west of the approach, is the senior living component of the project. CA Senior Living, who developed this project, opened for staff training and orientation last year, and the project is currently 65% of the 200 units are occupied now. So they're very pleased with the occupation of the project and think it's going to be a real successful development for them and hopefully a really nice addition to the city. The office at Summit Park is on the site located just to the west of Anthology. Construction has not begun on the office at the office at Summit Park. Pre-leasing efforts are continuing, and we're attempting to get pre-leasing in place that would allow us to begin construction. But as I'm sure you're all aware, office demand is extremely soft right now and has been for some time. Currently, what demand there is in the market is really focused on exhausting the existing vacant space and empty buildings that are out there right now, which is great. But that means we think it's probably likely still be a significant amount of time before we have enough office impetus that would give us the kind of demand we need to be able to start new office construction. But we continue to work with Al Nyer's office team leading the way and with the brokerage team led by Chris Vollmer at CBRE, actively marketing it continuously. Just catty corner along Carver Woods Drive to the proposed office site is the Cincinnati Rehabilitation Hospital. The project is being developed by Elodie Management. It's a medical rehabilitation hospital, and it's nearing completion of construction finally. They suffered a lot of the same kinds of delays that many significant construction projects suffered over the last few years, related largely to material shortages, supply chain issues, and labor shortages. But they are on track now to deliver the facility here in June. And they would hope to have patients being served at the medical rehabilitation hospital within 30 days thereafter. It's a state-of-the-art facility, about 50,000 square feet. It'll be operated by Novus Rehabilitation Partners. And it provides intensive rehabilitation to people who suffer severe illnesses and injuries, including brain injury, stroke, and other complex diseases and injuries. Helps get them back out onto their feet after they leave the hospital following the care they receive in a full hospital facility. Arabella at Summit Park is just to the north and across the street from the hospital site. This is WP Land's project for single-family townhomes and condominiums. The project is underway. Infrastructure is in for the townhome, for the phase 1 townhomes, and they've begun construction on the first 4 townhomes. So you'll soon start seeing those popping out of the ground if they're not already. And then there'll be another 3 townhomes that'll be started as soon as the weather permits it, and another 2 to follow after those within 30 days. So they'll be coming online pretty quickly over the next couple of months. The first condominium building, a 36-unit building, 3-story building on the east side of that piece, is slated to start early next month. And that'll start with a subsurface garage that'll be the base of that condominium building. And then, as I say, 36 condominiums will be built above that. And there's a second building, similar building planned at the corner of Carver Woods Drive and Parkview Lane also, that'll complete that phase of the project. Sales so far have been strong. Interest has been strong. The average price so far of the sales that are in place are right near the $1 million range. And there's already significant interest in the condominiums as well, with 2 units fully spoken for and a long list of and waiting to see the project and as it comes to fruition. So WP remains very optimistic, very happy about the success of the project, and so they're looking forward to bringing it online here this summer and fall. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Bill Baker. He's going to discuss the vision that we've been hearing about, unfortunately, a little prematurely. We think it's something that could really bring excitement and energy to the Summit Park, and we hope we can convince you in the city to agree with us on that. Bill works with Michael Schuster at MSA Design downtown. Many of you will recall that Michael was instrumental in the planning and design of Summit Park proper. And Bill is a managing partner at MSA, and he heads up their sports group. With that, Bill, let me turn it over to you.
Thanks, Steve. Good evening, everyone. I'm a pretty loud voice, so I may buzz between the mics
Michael sends his regards. He's actually out of state tonight, so I wanted to send his greetings and apologies for not being here. Thanks, Steve. So tonight we're going to talk about an initial vision or an idea for this parcel of land. Mr. Mayor, as you said, this is just an informative discussion to working with the developer to present some ideas and initial thoughts on what to do with this parcel here. We're pretty excited about it for many factors. Just wanted to touch on a couple key points. We'll talk about some of the initial imagery. This is an infill development. The idea is to enhance the existing neighborhood and fit within the character of some of the newest development that Steve was just discussing. Would contain residential, retail, culinary, hotel, and corporate uses, as well as the event venue, the stadium, as we talked about. Right now, 200+ market rate residential units, including a variety of the mixes as yet undetermined. Again, very early stage, a variety including studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, penthouses with higher end finishes and amenities. Commercial ground space that would activate the streetscape and enhance the Summit Park district. So some activation of the neighborhood streetscape is the intention of the concept. We would also have a community venue, the stadium, for a variety of activities, sports, concerts, summer camps, festivals, large group gatherings, and more. And really the idea is to have additional community activities and be a draw for the Summit Park, not only for the neighborhood at Summit Park, but the Summit Park district as well, which you all have done a wonderful job developing over the past decade. And really it's a one-of-a-kind venue that's unique to the United States. We work across the country, not only here in Cincinnati, but I think currently in 10 states, and there's nothing like this out there currently at this point. So we wanted to bring the idea forward and just have a conversation and show you what's in the thoughts of the development team. This is a high-level conceptual drawing diagram. So the approach is here just to orient everybody: Gateway Place, Summit Place. And the idea is we just identified some of the previous thoughts that have come in other development plans. The idea is a hotel development site to the kind of northwest, plan north. I'll just say plan north to the top of the plan. The idea is to maintain a corporate office headquarter development site right along the main intersection, which we know has always been a priority of council and the community. The venue itself hides and tucks within a residential mixed use block. We call it the West Block and the South Block, multiple levels and stories, and we'll talk about that. The central green space would be the field itself, surrounded by the seats of the venue. And then at the end, at the one end of the stadium, we call it commercial mixed use. It would be a low-rise commercial facility that could be developed commercially, whether it's residential retail or restaurant retail, culinary. And then there's what we call the venue support building, which would really be things that would support the venue: locker rooms, multi-purpose rooms, green rooms for concerts, things like that. That would be tucked down here. And then just a conceptual idea of some loop circulation, taking advantage of some existing surface lots. And then some of the ideas that some structured parking would be developed within and beneath portions of the development, as well as the plans for parking and potential structured parking and future development in the corner. This is a current view of the existing conditions. From the sky, from a drone, we can see the pavilion, which we were honored to be a part of and cast your vision so many years ago. Looking towards the east, and conceptually the hotel site concept, a potential corporate site. Again, these are very conceptual early ideas. This isn't a defined design, defined direction, but just to show the inspiration and idea and vision for what the site could be. The corporate site, the hotel, and then you can see the residential towers that behind which would be the venue itself. The view looking towards the west with Summit Park, the approach, some of the other developments Steve discussed tonight. And then the idea is that the venue would be the hotel site and would be tucked down within, taking advantage of some of the sloping grades to depress the venue itself. And this would represent the mixed use residential on the backside. Many of the services of the stadium, instruments, restrooms, press box, hospitality areas would all be tucked within that residential tower. So it would be built within the fabric of that building. And then importantly, we wanted to show the idea from the streetscape, how this would look from within the development itself. Again, this is the approach here. This would be the potential hotel site, but the idea is to really enhance and build it out as an enhancement to the streetscape with the residential units above, gateways to the stadium, and some of the mixed use commercial development on the street level here. It's a high level overview. And so just wanted to present that and answer any questions. I'm not sure the protocol, Mr. Mayor, how it works here at this point in time, but be ready for your questions. And I know Rob's here ready as well.
I mean, there's no procedure. If anybody has any questions right off the bat, as we said, this is our first peek at anything. So this might be something that a lot of us need to kind
Think
of
about.
get our head around and look at. I only saw like one diagram, kind of look at some diagrams and be able to kind of digest it. So if anybody has any questions, obviously fire away.
I can get started with a few.
Sure. I'll do my best to answer them or may defer.
What's the funding plan for this? And is any government assistance, direct or indirect, going to be requested for this?
I'm going to defer that to the folks from Vanderkar.
I'm Rob Smijunas from Vanderkart. Nothing has been determined yet.
Okay. Do you plan on using the Port Authority for this project at all?
We have not determined that yet.
Now, high school stadiums, in my experience, don't have a lot of employees there. In fact, when I went to high school, I would say that the number of employees dedicated to the football field was 0. Do we envision any full-time employees at the stadium portion itself?
We imagine it will because it's going to be operated more than just what you're saying, a high school football stadium.
And then I read that this would hold 5,000 people. And in a football game, it's even if everybody's not coming at exactly the right time, some come a little earlier and tailgate or whatnot, they're certainly leaving at the same time. What kind of traffic plan or additional type of roads are we envisioning to accompany this amount of people coming and going at the same time?
We would not imagine it even coming close to any of the Blue Ash activities that have been at the park. No, nothing close.
So are you saying like the existing roads that already are out there are going to be sufficient to accompany all this?
Right now, you're bringing in 20,000, 40,000 people. We don't suspect that that's ever going to be that large.
And then I saw there was some notes about parking, but how many additional parking spaces are you envisioning for this?
We'll probably do the same thing as the city of Blue Ash has done, is work with the adjoining property owners for parking.
I mean, but do we have like a rough estimate as to how many parking spaces you're envisioning to accompany the development? With 5,000 people, they're not all walking here. They're not all taking the bus. So where are they parking? And how many?
They're going to be
spaces?
They're going to be parked offsite.
Offsite, like where offsite?
We're working on that with adjoining property owners.
Well, I'll stop there. I mean, I would say thank you for your answers, but I didn't really hear a lot of answers, so I'll decline. You take it.
With all due respect, we are at such an early stage for a project like this. These kind of things are not worked out for a long time and would be presented at a planning commission meeting way in the future.
Okay,
They're
but at the
just
same
kind of giving
time,
us a.
we didn't ask for this presentation. You know, this was thrown upon us. And when the agenda was posted on Tuesday, the agenda stated update on the neighborhoods at Summit Park development. Now, how many people out there can read that statement and deduce that we were going to get a presentation about a football stadium and a whole bunch of additional apartments based on what was presented to us on Tuesday?
The 7 of us asked for an update on what's going on and any plans for the future and any concepts. And they went through the entire 100 acres and gave us exactly what we asked for.
And a few more
Okay.
things.
So you got an update, you got the first look like the whole audience did. We may have a positive or a negative first attitude about it, but that's the way, it's what we asked for it. And you were one of the 7 who asked for it. So I don't know why you're angry now.
I asked for this.
That
remember
they
that.
did exactly what the 7 of us asked for. So
You know, we asked for an update. That's when you say, yeah,
Yeah.
leasing increased from 50 to 80%. The apartments increased from 69% vacancy to 89% vacancy. An update doesn't mean, yeah, we're going to stuff a football stadium and a whole bunch more apartments on you. So right now, that's all I have on the questions. And if we want to move to discussion where we give our opinions, I'll be happy to return and give some more opinions on it.
anybody else want, at this point, at this early point, want to make any comments or dig deep into this?
don't want to dig deep, but as a new member to council, I want to understand a little bit better. There was a concept for this area before. I know it included hotels, other buildings, corporate headquarters of some sort. How have those plans changed with this proposal? For example, I don't think the apartments were in that. So
No,
what are
there
they
weren't.
replacing and-
This was going to be a parking garage.
The entire site was going to be a parking garage?
Pretty much.
Where's the parking going to go now? I don't understand.
Because of how we're configuring the development, we don't need the parking garage, and because we're gonna either have a parking garage or a large parking lot. So
So the size of the hotel, the size of the corporate headquarters, the other uses that were in the original concept
we're all being
remain the
parked.
same size.
No, they're not. They're actually, the hotel is about the same. The original corporate headquarters was about 200,000 square feet. It's still about 150 to 200,000 square feet possible. So it's about the same. And we were going to be parking that. I guess Nair had envisioned putting a parking garage right on this site, which we're proposing or we're presenting this concept. So this concept is replacing what I think we had there as just a plain garage. It was a 2-story garage.
The footprint that you're presenting here, does that actually go beyond the Nair project property? Are we also including the Bilkan
No.
property here?
No,
So this is strictly to the Nair property footprint.
the Vanderkar Nair property. We own.
All right.
It approximately 20 acres. I mean, again, I know you're
That's
early,
about
but
7 acres at the footprint of this project. is.
of the whole project?
The whole
Yeah.
project?
Yeah. The stadiums, the
No,
venue site.
I'm talking about all the things that you conceptually threw up.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean the office?
Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
probably about 18 to 20. Yeah.
Okay.
I got lost. 7 is the stadium and the apartments around it in the supporting buildings?
Mhm. No, not the supporting building. Well, yeah, the supporting buildings around the venue.
Yes, not the headquarters or
Correct.
any of that. Yeah.
Well, I think it was just a little surprising for all of us, that this was made public before we were aware of it. And it obviously creates a lot of anxiety with our residents. And I just, that this is a long process and, you guys have the right to bring a proposal to us and we'll evaluate over time. But I hope that people will not just, react emotionally right away and let the process work as it usually does very well in Blue Ash.
Thank you.
Where at this moment, I think I have a lot of questions, but it's too early to ask
Yeah.
this kind of questions. Until the real proposal comes. Then we will talk and ask more questions. That's my opinion right now.
I ask one more, Mr. Mayor. When the blue was proposed, before it was approved, there was a detailed market study done that looked at all the luxury apartments being proposed in Montgomery and Kenwood, and including the apartments at the blue. And there was a determination made that there were 300 and some needed in this market, of which they're building 250. What does your market assessment say that says that you think you can fill 200 more apartments, or why?
Oh,
that number?
there's a much bigger, this is in a different market than downtown, believe it or not, because it's closer to the jobs. So people prefer to live closer to their place of work and this park. And so we believe in speaking with Michael Den, who did that report, it's his assessment as well that there's plenty of demand.
Is the main proposal at this time really the stadium building surrounding and then the rest of it where the other two buildings would go with the hotel and corporate, that's still off in the future? Or is this the whole proposal right now as one?
It right now is the venue and the mixed use. We'd like to bring the hotel back. There is a hotel, there's one or two hotel operators that we're talking to that might want to be within the venue development as well. To have access or views into it.
And because you have this picture up, so that corner space that's shown as grass, green space.
That's yours. Yep.
I'm not cool enough to know enough about concerts to know why that would be a good venue for a concert. Can you help me understand how that area would be used for concerts and activated at times other than sporting events?
Oh, yeah, we in fact, this did not come without investigation and without talking to a number of large promoters about this venue. And they assisted us in the design for access for what are the needs for a concert. So when we worked with, or when these gentlemen came in and spoke to us about their needs as promoters, because they do large concerts.
That becomes the question of why do you want to compete with the city when we already have our own stage?
Pardon me?
Why do you want to compete with the city when we have our own stage right next door?
Well, because we weren't, this wouldn't hurt the grass, this wouldn't hurt your facilities that you're there with. It wouldn't hurt the lawn.
Well, that's what it was designed for, though.
I understand. I'm just telling you that you asked me and I'm just saying it would
Yeah.
be a venue that would not have damages to the existing park.
Anybody else?
Thanks. I will say, Katie, you brought up, we're done with that. We'll move on to the next thing. Katie, you brought up about the hotel, just to reiterate, the development group did propose a hotel probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It's still in the concept plan. Council at that time felt that the particular hotel they were proposing was not one that they wanted. They wanted a different style. So, that gives you an update on that. I think it also reiterates how this process is constantly ongoing. Sometimes they come to things and you say yes, and sometimes you say, no, that isn't good enough for us. And obviously this one has a little bit of a different feel than some of the past ones. The last round they did was they proposed the Arabella one in a similar format as this. And, that was received a little differently than this one. So second comment before I'm done is I heard a couple comments about parking for Town Square during the Town Square redevelopment. That we opened the bids today. We have not gone through the bids, but the good news is the really exciting news. We've got 3 bids. So in this bidding environment, as you know, the last year we had a lot of unsuccessful bids out there. Some preliminary numbers, they seem like they're within the range of what we were hoping. We need to figure out what all the contingencies are and this and that. Anticipate maybe the next meeting that'll be awarded. Heard some comments and I know Brian Cruz in particular, he is here. I had to make sure he was here, has been in communication with some of those businesses in the area. Make no doubt our desire is to make sure that transition of that redevelopment is in that new park is as smooth as possible. There's still going to probably be some hiccups along the way. Just is when, as I've used the analogy with Jill one time, when you're remodeling the kitchen, it's tough to put on Thanksgiving dinner, right? If everything's going on. So there's going to be some of that, but make no mistake, our goal certainly is for those companies, Parkport in particular, and Sleepy Bee, who've been good friends with us, to be successful through that transition and support that, because part of what we want is a vibrant, healthy downtown. So we'll certainly take note of that, and I'm sure I'll gather with Gordon and Brian about that transition throughout the process and figure out ways to try and get some temporary or something like that. So with that, that's all I have, Your Honor.
Kelly?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to make council aware that our Citizens of Blue Ash Academy COBA 101 will be starting shortly. Our first session is before the next council meeting. So that's on February 9th at 5:30 in the rec center basement. We'll be serving dinner and we'll have 45 minutes of content and then we'll come over to the council meeting. So council and staff are welcome to attend that. And we have 16 registered for that class. And then also, as we talked previously at our retreat, we will be doing a citizen satisfaction survey that'll start in the next couple of weeks, just general satisfaction questions about the community, and we'll give you feedback in the future on that. And then also I wanted to mention, since state of Ohio deregulated energy in 2001, we have been buying for our facilities, we've been buying energy from an alternate supplier at a savings. Our contract is coming up in May of 2023. Rates are going up, so be prepared. They're not going to be as attractive as they once were, but we do have an opportunity at this time to join the Center for Local Government Purchasing Collaborative to buy energy in bulk along with 14 other local governments. Should provide some savings, but the tricky thing with doing that is that we have to pass legislation in advance authorizing the city manager to sign those contracts when we get the pricing, because not all governments have their meetings on the same night. We can't get it to line up, and just like the stock market, it's going up and down all the time. So if that's something council's interested in, it should provide the most savings. If that's too uncomfortable, we can certainly do a contract on our own again, and then we would just pass the legislation with that contract rate at a meeting as we have in the past. So something to think about. And also I did ask about renewables, and what that would do is it would add about 20% more in cost increase. So we're expecting maybe 50% increase just on the generation portion, and then maybe another 20%, which equates to about $35,000 a year if we wanted to go 100% renewable. So it's $35,000 on top of the almost 800,000 we're already paying to Duke. It's not a huge percentage, but it is an increase. So something else for you all to think about, and I'll circle back with you in February.
Thank you.
That's all.
Julie?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Gordon?
I don't have anything.
Brian Cruz?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Chief Feeders?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Good. It's Captain Pullman, right? Have anything? Jamie's somewhere. I think she's gone. Huh? Where? There you are. You were around the corner. Jamie, yeah. Julie, I already got you. Rachel? I'm getting in. Okay, got Jamie's not here. That's who I said it twice. Wow, I'm getting on. Okay, Lee.
Nothing tonight other than my compliments again to the service department on handling the snowstorm. Thank you.
Katie? Ryan?
The Sycamore School Board has a commission that is the advisory commission. They're seeking at-large members. Specifically, they're looking for folks that don't have kids. There are a lot of people who have kids that are already serving, and they want to diversify that group. So in any case, whether you're with kids or without kids, whatever stage of life you're in, if you are interested in serving, they meet 9 times a year. It involves hearing and giving feedback on different things the school is considering, and then everyone participates in a project team that then develops a proposal or does research for the board. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to consider it and speak to me. I'll make sure you get the application, which is available now and due soon. Other than that, let me say thank you to our public works folks. They did a great job with this last snowstorm. As always, I think Mr. Nord was around. I didn't know it was against the law for it to snow in Blue Ash or to stay there, but I believe that there is some magic or something that must happen, but it does obviously take a lot of work. So thank you to all the folks that are responsible for that.
Thank you. Jill?
I'd like to reiterate that as well, especially since it came out of the blue. Nobody was really expecting that. So I'm guessing we didn't have our normal plans quite laid out like we did, but you guys did a terrific job. And of course, we had this big storm that did materialize a couple of days ago. And one of the funniest Facebook posts I think I've read was from the Blue Ash Police Department about what happens, what a snow is and what a snow is not. So that was pretty funny. Just a couple of other quick things have been to Sugar and Spice twice now that just opened, and it's been exciting because both times it's been quite busy. Even this morning, they're quite early, and so that was terrific. And I'd like to thank Captain Pullman. I spent some time with him last week, and he showed me around the police station. And just thank you for your hospitality and for all the other folks that I talked with that day to help understand the police operation a bit better. I really appreciated it. That's it.
Counselor. Jeff?
Yeah, one item wanted to discuss was the importance of transparency in government. Transparency is very important because it allows citizens to be informed on what's going on in government. It gives them the information to hold us accountable. And it even helps the elected officials because it is much easier to battle misinformation and get good information out if you have good systems in place to inform residents. And from 2018 to 2022, Blue Ash made a lot of strides when it came to transparency. When I got here in late 2017, you either had to be at the council meeting or that was it. You didn't get to see what happened. Shortly after that, we started putting the audio files online. We joined the state's online checkbook so that people could see exactly where the spending was going on command. They could do it from their own laptop if they wanted to. And then eventually we won the battle to get our meetings videotaped, as you can see from a couple cameras there. This has, in addition to that, just in general, we did a much better job at just generally communicating with residents about what was going on. It was much easier to be an informed citizen. Now, lately that has slipped and it's been disappointing to watch. Starting with what I mentioned earlier, if a citizen went online on Tuesday to try to find out what was going on at our council meeting, they would have seen a blurb in miscellaneous business that stated, update on the neighborhoods at Summit Park development. It's a pretty innocuous phrasing. There is no way that any intelligent human being could have read that statement and figured out that we were going to be getting a presentation about a big football stadium and a lot more apartments going on right outside Summit Park. In addition to that, so that's why I voted against the agenda earlier tonight, because the agenda that was posted was not accurate, and I'm not going to be voting for inaccurate agendas. At the last meeting, the agenda was also inaccurate. When legislation is submitted to the solicitor and the clerk of courts by a certain time, that legislation is supposed to be placed on the agenda. I introduced legislation for that meeting in plenty of time. That was not placed on the agenda. All legislation written by city staffers was put on the agenda, but I, as an elected member of council member, apparently don't have those same rights. So if residents wanted to know that I had legislation at the last meeting that would have given $100 economic development stimulus to every Blue Ash resident who lived in Blue Ash for the entirety of 2022, you would not have known that ahead of time. You would have had to come to the meeting and find out there, because apparently putting accurate agendas is not a priority here. And then if we get to the minutes from tonight's meeting, which I also voted against, if you wanted to read the minutes to find out what my legislation was, here's what it said. He read the legislation by title and explained the substance of the legislation. So what does that mean? Did my legislation declare war on Canada? Did my legislation ban all abortions in the city of Blue Ash? Did my legislation ban all guns, knives, forks, and spoons in the city of Blue Ash? All of that could have been possible because putting accurate information in the minutes doesn't seem to be much of a priority either. So the issue here is agendas are supposed to convey accurate information. They're not supposed to just contain the cherry-picked information that certain people want residents to know. Minutes should accurately reflect what happened at the meeting. It shouldn't just be the things that certain people want residents to know. If legislation has been introduced to council in accordance with our rules in chapter 111, all of the legislation, regardless of who wrote it, should be treated equally and posted on the website and on the agenda the same way. Withholding information from residents because certain people may be embarrassed at what that information is unacceptable, and it should not be permitted here. We all chose to be council members, and we all have to step up and make sure that these kind of things don't happen going forward. Transparency is an important part of government. We need to continue making sure that happens. And my last statement, we've made great progress on that from 2018 to 2022. I don't want to see us going backwards on this. That's all.
Vice Mayor Javari.
No, nothing tonight.
Okay, couple things. Well, actually, just really one. I do want to really have us all kind of aware of downtown parking. Maybe we reach out as the project gets closer to actually being approved to some of the local businesses and see if they're willing to be a little accommodating. We're certainly try to be accommodating and take care of them. And especially, Gordon, your department takes really good care of making sure their businesses are open. And if they have an emergency, you're there for them. So I think we'll get some cooperation without too much work. Tonight's presentation was exactly what we asked for. We asked, come in and just give us an update. I'm going to say it very simply. I disagree with almost everything Councilman Capel said tonight. That being said, I would take a motion for adjournment.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, guys.